Hey guys, welcome. Surprise edition this week of Chewing the Fat. No, your eyes aren't deceiving you. Dean hasn't grown a bit of hair and turned into an islander. I've got with me Alan Unasa, who I've known for about 5 years now. He's just rejoined the protocol that Dean and I are talking about every week. And I thought it would be a good idea to just bring some people on board that are on their own journey about losing weight or getting healthy again and being part of the protocol and seeing where they're at, why they joined and all that sort of thing. So thanks for joining me today, Alan.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Trev. Thanks for having me. I really do appreciate the structure you guys have, even though it's a bit lighthearted. You have a lot of fun, great information. Definitely a lot of information there with the science and what have you that Dean's obviously studied for many, many years.
Yeah.
Starts to gel when I think about, some of the stuff I'd kind of studied growing up. But also, it gives me an opportunity to actually share the journey and make a difference for not just myself and my family, but for anyone else out there who's struggling with their weight or has tried so many other things, or if you're like many of my mates growing up, when you lose weight, the first thing you do is try and hit the gym.
Yeah.
Which is good in theory, but as you get older and older, your muscles aren't the same anymore. And, a lot of us old guys have some really old injuries that we haven't really dealt with. And so, having this as an alternative and also backing it up with the information.
Yeah. One of the things I found too is just that, and through speaking with Dean, is that just the losing the weight and getting your health in check makes that all so much easier anyway. Whereas before, trying to train while you're overweight and unhealthy, it became such a drama and something you just did not look forward to. Whereas a lot of the people I'm speaking to that are a few weeks into this program are like, when can I hit the gym? When can I hit the gym? Versus I've got to drag my backside out and go for a run or a walk or, to the gym or whatever.
Exactly.
So give us a bit of background about where you're at and what brought you to Dean, and if you've done things like this before and what made you jump on board again.
Well, I did actually approach Dean earlier on when I spoke to him about the program, and I'd actually watched some of his videos before you actually joined. And they were really informative, and a lot of the science he was explaining I kind of understood, having a little bit of a science background. But not only that, it really made sense as to how the whole fitness industry has, what do? You just basically eat less and exercise more, but it's $1 billion industry. So how are they, always making this kind of money? So there's got to be something going on there with all, and we've still got an obesity crisis. So especially in our community. So I thought, look, I've got a young family, as you know. Congratulations on yourself too for being a granddad.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's exciting. But when you go to do the simple things like just bend over and put on your clothes, get out of bed, just even carrying them around, it's like you kind of look, you feel your muscles aren't the same anymore, your body's not the same. So I had a kind of look at, well, not so much about prolonging my life, but just not cutting it short. So if I can just not cut it short and let my body do what it needs to do, so that I can enjoy myself with the family. And I basically approached him. So then, and I started the protocol. This would have been about almost 2 years ago now, maybe 1.5 years ago. And it was the end of 2018, and I jumped on it followed what he was telling me. And I had, first time I was doing it, I kind of tried to wrap my head around, because it's a diet that's totally, as you know, there's so many different keto diets out there, and which one do you go with? Well, you just basically choose someone that you know or trust. So obviously I trusted Dean's background and what he knew about it all, and of course I saw him do the stem cell stuff with you earlier, way back when we kind of knew each other.
Yeah.
So so I thought, well, let's do it. So it was going really, really well, and I started at about 178, 179 kilos, got right down to, within a matter of 6 to 8 weeks, got right down to like 147, 148. Everybody noticed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just that too. It was just how I was feeling. And I've heard you talk about in the videos, the kind of energy levels you have. I was able to fit into some old clothes that I hadn't got rid of. And it's just, just being able to do that without any strain on the body. And so I did that. And then what happened was, Dean was my coach. I'd listen to him sometimes. And as you know, being someone of the work and a senior graduate, you become a smart rat.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, try and figure it out your own way and try and do things way it's not designed. And what happened was I actually went overseas, went over to Samoa, went over to New Zealand for some family things. And, once my brain got there, the environment, kind of took over.
Yeah.
And so basically I got back to Sydney and I wasn't really able to get back on track. And I kind of was like on like 50, 60% of it when I got back. And then I tried to kind of do it myself without talking to Dean. And, as we all know how that goes when you let go of the coach, even though you love him and hate him at the same time. They are there for a reason, and you kind of need them to be, batting for you in your corner.
Yeah.
So obviously months went by, kept myself busy with some other stuff. Dean did tell me I was going to put weight back on because I only had started to finish phase 1.
Right.
So as you know, there's 4 phases to the protocol. So phase 1, I was starting to get down to my goal weight, which was 120.
Yeah.
And I still a lot of weight to lose. I was starting to get down to it, and then obviously I hadn't finished. So as many weeks have gone by, and in the last maybe 2 to 3 weeks, I've been noticing on the scales that I had been putting weight back on. I'm actually now 5 kilos heavier than when I started the first time.
Yeah, right.
I'm over 180 now, and I start to feel it in my chest and start to feel it, in my breathing. My sleep apnea has, gotten worse. My wife loves me, but not when I'm snoring. So, so there's that. But and I thought, well, look, I'm not here to cut my life short. Still a lot of growing up to do with my children, and a lot of living to do. I've got a lot of plans regarding family and business, and so anyway, here I am. So I said to Dean, look, we're watching your videos with Trevor, and you've been an inspiration.
Thanks.
I have to say, because Dean, when he was doing the videos before, he was mostly doing it on his own. And that interaction you have with him, and obviously when you started to talk about what you were going through, it reminded me of how it was for me, and even how I was able to get through those situations where someone's birthday, and then you've got a birthday cake, and how I was able to handle it. And it just reminded me, like, I can do this.
Yeah.
So I'm not here to start. I mean, even though I am starting,
Yeah.
I'm back here to finish. And so
great.
That's what we're going to do. And I mean, yes, I'm going to lose the weight and all that kind of stuff. As to me, that's a byproduct. If it makes a difference to the obesity in somebody's family, they get to see their children a little bit longer. Obviously for me, that's the case as well. But now I can't hide. As I was saying earlier, about the whole how I planned to do the big reveal last time.
Yeah.
It as much as that was a great plan, it didn't work. So now it's about just taking people along with the journey. And I know there are guys out there who have also started and haven't finished. So, if it's going to inspire them as well, so be it.
Or that haven't started and, they're 160, 170 kilos and like, nah, I'm beyond it, or, it's too late for me. I've tried everything else, all that sort of stuff, which is great. But, predominantly it's for you and your family as well, just so your wife can get some bloody sleep, for God's sakes, for starters. But it was great what you said about going back home and what that brought back, because that was the last conversation Dean and I had, was about the culture and how the past influences our eating habits now as we grow up. And, going back home to the family and seeing all those things and the reminders of being a kid and what you ate then, it just would have been, putting that warm, cozy blanket on and nestling into all the stuff you grew up with as a kid.
Yeah, it was automatic. I mean, I don't know if you know much about the brain, but I think somewhere I read some science book, or somebody must have told me how the brain, it remembers all of that, and so when you go back into those environments, it basically plays it out. It acts it out, and so it's a lot harder to have that kind of willpower.
Yeah.
Especially if you're over there for a short time and they're hosting as kind of like a one-off, because they don't know when you're going to come back.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of rude to say no to whatever it is they had prepared for you, and that, because when you go back to your family, they normally roll out the red carpet.
Yeah.
They go all out and try not to hold anything back, and so you kind of have that kind of guilt in your mind, as well as the whole, this is my environment, this is what I was eating. So even that now isn't going to be something that will stop me. So I'm mentally,
it's something really great to have power around, because I don't know if you saw the video I had at a birthday party at the family's restaurant, and my wife's family's culture is at those parties, you just get hammered on cognac. And, they're all at me, come on, you got to drink. And it's the same thing. It's like offensive if you don't. I remember when we first met, I was in trouble if I didn't take that shot of cognac, even though I can't stand cognac. Because it's insulting to the family, And it was really different for me to sit there and be saying no. I mean, they all knew I was on a diet anyway, on a protocol they'd noticed as well. And they were all, you've lost enough, it's enough, you look skinny enough. Tell me how you did it, because I want to lose 5. But that's enough, just eat. You're fine now. And drink. We're brothers, come on. You've got to drink. And it was a real, pulling of the heartstrings of, I know this is really offensive on the surface to them. And at the same time, really, what I'm doing, I'm not supposed to be drinking, and you still want me to. So you can deal with that, and I'm going to deal with what I'm dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I at where I'm working at the moment, I have, there are a lot of guys bigger than me. And, they're always offering food, sometimes they do it just to see how much willpower I have.
Mm.
You know, so sometimes you have mates like that who kind of test you.
Yeah.
But you know, like obviously that's the kind of stuff you have to deal with mentally, and just having that kind of discipline.
Yeah.
And focus. So definitely, it's something that I'm looking forward to. And I mean, I know I'm not a Michael Jordan, but I've been watching. I've been watching, the Michael Jordan series, and how, what is it like to win a championship and then do it again. I mean, it's kind of like that when you going on a diet again. It's like I've been on so many, like I've succeeded at some, I've failed at a lot. But given we're not getting any younger, it's like you have to.
I think there's something important there in what you just said. Then I think from where if I look at what I've done before and look at the diets I've been on before and look at them as failing or succeeding, they've all failed.
Yeah.
Because I ended up back where I started from.
Yeah.
And that's the idea of this protocol, is this isn't just another diet. This is the last, and sets you up for the rest of your life to maintain that the whole time, versus, okay, I'm off the diet now, I can go back to eating whatever I want and doing whatever I want. When I hit 20 kilos, I'll go on another diet again.
Yeah.
Mm. So what do you see the difference is in the coaching versus, as you say, doing it yourself? What was the biggest thing you saw there?
Well, I mean, I just can't, like you said, I can't rely on myself to. I mean, I'm probably, as you know, you don't want to be self-coaching. It just doesn't work.
I do want to be self-coaching. As you said, it doesn't work.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, if everybody wants to, it'll be a whole lot easier and probably a whole lot cheaper, but it just doesn't work because, you've already been with yourself for so long.
Yeah.
It's like, as you know, it's like the water you swim in. So you need to be like having a whole new pair of eyes, looking at it from kind of like looking to see what you can't see, and also just somebody to, because I mean, before it's like every coach I've had in the past, it's like you're in trouble. You're not following what they're telling you. And, so again, that's just even having that as a context, you're already going to fail, because now your coach is not someone who's going to empower you, I mean, they might be, but you don't see them that way. And, and so then the context just goes out, and then the whole coaching business goes out as well. So,
and in the past, if you're a kid and you're in trouble, what do? You hide it.
No.
Don't tell them what you're doing.
You don't want to tell them what you weren't supposed to eat that you ate. Exactly. You don't want to tell them that, you didn't, you weren't meant to go to the gym and you ended up wanting to go to the gym. Just all those things, or you didn't drink enough water. But because so number one, even when I'm talking to Dean now, for some reason, he just occurs more like someone who's there to empower me rather than someone to hide from.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest difference this time around, even just starting. So, and of course, that's a lot to do with me because I'm creating it that way. And, if I can just get other people as well on board, like I could basically train people around me to know that, I'm on this program. I'm going to eat that, but yes, phase 4, not phase 1.
Exactly what you said the other night. I was like, it's not that I can't eat it ever again. I'm just not eating it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I look at all of the guys that I've been around most of my life, in the island community. a lot of them are hitting the gym, even though they're heavier than me and bigger than me. That's just all they know.
That's what most people know, isn't it? I mean, most of the people that have contacted me at some stage have all said, "Oh yeah, I'm going back to the gym next week," and I was training the whole time I was fat.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it was always, yeah, I'm training and I'm actually, I convinced myself I was decently fit enough because of the training. So all I really need to do is just knock back the beers and clean up my diet a bit and I'll be sweet.
Well, that's the thing. It's good that you mentioned diet, because what I, now that I'm kind of looking at this from another angle, you know, when we're exercising and hitting the gym first, like that's the easy part.
Mm.
It's easier to go, okay, I'm gonna go and start walking now, and walk,
well, it is once you're healthy.
Yeah, and what I mean by that is, like, it's normally the go-to. So your mind is like, yeah, yes. I'm going to start this diet, so I'm going to go and start exercising because that's going to motivate me to keep going or make me feel better. Of course, you get a hit of endorphins or whatever they call them, but this way, it's designed so that then, I guess for me, the hard part is first.
Yeah,
which is diet,
and it is the hard part.
If you can get that right, then the rest is going to just fall into place.
Yeah.
Because now your diet's going to be like that forever. And you don't have to, because if you're doing the other way around, it's like you're exercising, but then now you have to kind of watch your diet at the same time because you're exercising. But if you flip it and have it the other way around, which is what we're doing, then you deal with the hard part first, which is the diet, because that's the lifestyle change right there. And also that's where you train yourself mentally to deal with all the different situations within your community and within your culture. So once you handle that, then the rest is basically...
Well, as Dean said, the studies they've done show that the actual exercise is a tiny part of the weight loss side of it. And sure, the exercise comes in later and movement and all that sort of thing to maintain where you're at. But for the actual weight loss side of things, very little in terms of the results or the success or non-success or the failure of losing weight is around exercise. But as you say, that's the go-to. Everyone says, "Oh, I'm going to start training next week." Right? And then, a lot of the people I know, and myself included, I'd go train and then go, "Well, it's good I trained today so I can have 9 beers and a pizza."
Yeah, so that's another thing. It's like I have to deal with the diet and also the alcohol. So as I'm not a beer drinker, but not really a wine drinker, but I drink a little bit of wine, but mostly whiskey.
Right.
And so that's, I don't, even when I was off the protocol, I wasn't drinking whiskey every week or every fortnight. But when I do, it's like, normally like half a bottle or close to a bottle, it may be spaced out over months, but still, it's a whiskey bottle is not
it's going to buy bigger bottles out.
It's not going to help. It's not going to help. So then you go to Costco and then you buy a bigger one, and then
exactly.
Anyway, so I was watching the whole thing about alcohol when Dean was talking about that as well. Yeah, you can have it, the red wine and all that's good, but in phase 1, it's definitely a no-no.
Yeah, my wife's stunned at that. The amount that I was drinking every day, a few beers, a couple of red wines and stuff every day, to then just going nothing for, I think it's been nearly 10 weeks now, and she's like, "You haven't had anything to drink for 10 weeks. Like, yeah. How do you do that? Using the alcohol to, numb other stuff versus being reliant on the alcohol per se.
Well, obviously for yourself, you're resolved when you go in. That's what keeps you on, the straight and narrow. and and that's it. It's like you've got to be resolved when you go in, because it's all in. It's like, when you
Yes.
have no carbs and no sugar, you're all in.
Yeah.
Because especially in the first few days, you feel the headaches, kind of like withdrawal symptoms.
Mm.
Um,
I never
which
thought
like
I'd feel that. I never thought I would feel that. Everyone's talking about, oh, you'll get headache. I don't get headaches anyway. I've never had a headache in my life, but I did feel like dry in the head, if that makes sense.
yeah,
It just felt like I was drying out in the head. And I was like, wow, this has got to be as close as it is to what a headache feels like, I'm sure. It was really
yeah,
weird.
it's like a non-smoker taking up smoking for the first time. Yeah, but now you're doing it in reverse.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
So we're going to
so
talk again in another couple of weeks.
yeah.
Where are you going to be at then? Let's give you a target to.
Well, I mean, the last time I did it, and this was the way Dean designed it with the program, I was losing at least 5 pounds a week.
Right.
So, that's about 2.4, somewhere around 2.4 kilos.
Yeah.
So we're looking at, in the next fortnight, at least 10 pounds off. Sorry, I just dropped.
You're right.
Um,
About 4.5 kilos.
yeah, so it'll be about close to 5 kilos, maybe 5 kilos, because first week you normally lose more than norm, and when it flattens out, it's definitely 2.5 to 3 kilos a week, without any exercise. Or you're doing your normal thing. You're not even going for walks.
The first part of it I was on, we were in lockdown. I sat on the backside for 3 weeks watching TV, doing nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like you were saying before on the previous live about how much exercise it would take to lose that. And I think Dean was talking about how many marathons it would take. And as so if you can imagine people going to the gym, I mean, they're not doing marathons in the gym, and they're not going to be losing 5 pounds unless they starve themselves. So anyway, in the next couple of weeks, that's where I'll be. Obviously I'll be feeling less tired. Hopefully my wife's going to be talking about how my snoring volume has reduced to a
dull raw,
to a level that she can handle. And then I'm just looking forward to the energy.
Yeah.
Cool. One of the other things too was obviously in business there's a whole lot of business shirts and business suits that I used to be able to fit that I can't fit anymore. So there'll be that as well that I'm looking forward to as well. And I used to be a heavy water drinker too. Used to be. And now these days it's more coffee than water. So I'm starting to balance that out as well.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, Al. We'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks and see how we are. And I'll see everyone else again on Sunday night with Dean when we chew the fat once more. And look, thanks for taking it on, Al. And let's hope we can both make a difference to a lot more people.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's definitely one of the things we talk about when we talk about COVID is it being a bit of a crisis, but obesity has been around a lot longer.
Yeah.
Especially in the communities that I roll in, and it's just another thing too. It's just sometimes it's just having the information. So I'm going to put myself out there as a someone who's going to be during the journey. Yeah, on the hook, on the court. Failing and succeeding, up and down, turning myself inside out with, going through whatever I need to go through. But at the same time, I mean, I think I'm just going to have fun because I'm going to be talking to you every fortnight.
What else would you rather do?
Exactly.
All
All
right.
right.
Thanks, Al. See you all again in a couple of weeks, and I'll see you on Sunday with Dean.
All right, mate. Thanks,
Bye.
mate. Bye.